Hello guys, today we will be discussing about blood and the components of blood and its characteristics. Blood is a fluid connective tissue. It appears red due to the presence of pigment which is hemoglobin. Yeah, blood has a crucial role in carrying oxygens. And first of all, if we take up blood in a test tube and we perform centrifugation by adding anticoagulant, then what we find, then we can get the components of blood being separated, like plasma, which is the liquid matrix of the blood. It appears pale yellowish in color, whereas the formed elements include RBCs, WBCs and platelets. Now coming to the constituents, the plasma is the matrix and it mainly constitutes water. That is 99% of the plasma is water only. Yes, water. What is the property of water? All the properties will be shown by the plasma also. Means water exerts forces on the wall in which it is kept. In the plasma also, or blood, it exerts pressure on the blood vessels from which it flows. Then it regulates the temperature of the blood. Then the constituents protein. In the plasma there are many proteins, and most of the protein are accumulated in the form of albumin. And we know that the albumin functions in regulating the osmotic pressure of the body. And then globulin are having a role in the defense of the body, and they can be gamma globulins, immunoglobulins, which are helped in the fighting mechanism in defense of the body. Fibrinogen are helping in the clotting of blood, and prothrombin also assist and perform the same function of clotting of the blood. Then coming to the other solutes in the blood include ions, nutrients, waste matters. Waste matters are also waste products, means urea, are also released into this plasma, and it are released through this plasma and get purified. Regulatory substances include hormones. These hormones regulate the function of various body parts. It helps in maintaining the health of the body as well. Now coming to the formed elements includes mainly erythrocytes, which gives the blood its red color due to erythrocytes, where the hemoglobin is mainly concentrated. They are erythrocytes. Then leukocytes are the white blood cells. Leukocytes can be agranulocytes and granulocytes. In agranulocytes there can be monocytes or lymphocytes, whereas in granulocytes the granule are present in the cytoplasm, and they can be neutrophils, eosinophils or basophils. Then coming to platelets. What are platelets? Platelets help in the clotting of blood. If we get hurt or injury, then at that site, it is not that all the blood will be released out of the body from the point of injury. The factor, which are plasma, it has many factors. This inhibits the excess flow of blood, and it helps in the clotting of blood. Now proceeding this discussion, blood is a type of connective tissue consisting of cells and platelets and surrounded by liquid matrix, which we have already discussed. It's plasma, and the formed elements make up 45% of the blood, and followed by the formed elements make 45% of the blood, and the plasma constitute 55% of the total blood. The process of formation of blood is called hemopoiesis, and this hemopoiesis in the adult takes place in the liver. Yeah. Then coming to characteristics of blood. Characteristics of blood will include temperature, pH and volume. At normal, we can see that the temperature of the blood is slightly above the normal body temperature. Our normal body temperature is 37 degrees Celsius, whereas the temperature of the blood is 38 degrees Celsius. Then coming to the pH. The pH of the blood is slightly basic, that is 7.4, and this is maintained by a buffer which is known as carbonic acid bicarbonate buffer. This helps in regulating the pH of the blood. Then the volume of the blood in the healthy adult is 5 to 6 liters, whereas in the females is 4 to 5 liters. Then coming to the formed elements. The formed elements includes red blood cells, white blood cells, and platelets. In the red blood cells, there will be they are also known as erythrocytes. They are biconcave shaped. They have a special protein which is known as spectrin. This helps in maintaining its shape, and it has hemoglobin pigment too. Then the white blood cells. In the white blood cells, we have one which does not have any granule in the cytoplasm, and the other which have granule in their cytoplasm. One without the granule are known as agranulocytes, which include monocyte and lymphocyte, and the one which has granule are known as eosinophils, basophils, and neutrophils. Okay, in the monocytes we can see one noticeable thing is that its nucleus is kidney shaped, whereas in lymphocytes they have spherical nucleus. In the eosinophils the nucleus are bilobed. Here two lobes can be seen. In the basophils, the nucleus is trilobed, whereas in the neutrophils have multilobed nucleus, and in the females the neutrophils also contain bar body. Then the platelets are the fragment of megakaryocytes. They are known as thrombocytes. They help in clotting of blood, and they also lack organelles. Formed elements, RBCs, red blood cells, red blood corpuscles. We can see that red blood cells are biconcave in shape. They are devoid of any nucleus or other organelles, and it contain protein spectrin. There is a property of red blood cells because of its biconcave shape. They can aggregate and form this Rayleigh formation. Like piles of the coin, it will appear as if the coins are kept one upon the other. And the red color pigment, which is very important, that is hemoglobin. It is only the oxygen carrier, which is a quaternary structure of protein. Then the white blood cells. White blood cells are known as leukocytes. White blood cells, as I have already discussed, it is of two types, granulocytes and agranulocytes. It is polymorph in shape, means its nucleus is also having different shape which can be identified easily. Its main function is protecting the body from the infectious agent. The concentration ranges 7,000 per cell per microliter, and the abnormal rise in the number causes cancer. Then the platelets are thrombocytes. They are disc-shaped, oval or biconcave shaped. It accounts for about 1.5 to 4.5 lakhs per millimeter cube. They are non-nucleated and derived from the megakaryocyte of the bone marrow. It stains by basic dye. It helps in clotting of the blood by producing thromboplastin, and also synthesizes serotonin. Maximum part is made by contractile protein, and this contractile protein is known as thrombosthenin. Now coming to the functions of formed elements of the blood. RBCs, yes, its function is known to one and all, that it carries oxygen to the cells and organs, and it gives out carbon dioxide. It also carries carbon dioxide with it. Carries carbon dioxide with it. It is biconcave in shape. Neutrophils help in phagocytizing of microorganisms, whereas basophils release histamine, heparin, and serotonin. Histamine is also a mediator of inflammation. Heparin is a anticoagulant. Serotonin is a hormone. Eosinophils have allergic reaction. Lymphocytes produce antibodies and the other chemical substances. Then monocytes are phagocytic. They engulf the bacteria or any other debris which invade the cell, and produce macrophages and dendritic cells in the tissues. These macrophages and dendritic cells are also having phagocytic nature in the tissue. Then the platelets help in clotting of the blood. They are spherical shaped. Then coming to the leukocytes are as already discussed, are granulocytes and agranulocytes, and their nucleus is also having a peculiar shape which is very distinguished from one another. Then one more cell is present in the white blood cells, which is known as plasma cell. Plasma cells are also having functions in defense of the body. They synthesizes antigen specific immunoglobulins, and they respond in the autoimmune diseases as well as the plasma cell neoplasm, and also the development and the functions are tightly regulated. Now we should discuss the defects of the blood cells. What will happen if the blood cell will increase or decrease? What is the terminology should be discussed in this slide. In erythrocytes, anisocytosis means unequal division, can lead to the formation of macrocytes or microcytes. Macrocytes, as the name suggests, macro means big, large size RBCs, and microcytes means reduced size RBCs. In the poikilocytosis, there is cytosis. Increase in the cytosis is known as poikilocytosis. Increase in the number of RBCs. And then polycythemia. Polycythemia is here, the term hemia is hidden. Hemia means poly means many, hemia means hemoglobin. Many hemoglobin means increase in the hemoglobin concentration of the erythrocytes will be called as polycythemia. The anemia, we know that when anemia can be of two types, sickle cell anemia and the pernicious anemia. Sickle cell anemia, when the shape of the RBCs get converted to sickle shaped, that is they can carry less oxygen, then this condition is known as sickle cell anemia. Then pernicious anemia means the quantity of the RBCs is decreased. Erythrocytopenia is the decreased in the RBCs. Then the leukocytosis means increase in the leukocyte number. Then leukemia is the also increased in the leukemia is also increased in the leukocyte number. Leukopenia is a condition in which the leukocytes decreases. Thrombocytosis means increase in the number of thrombocytes. Then purpura disease, in this purpura disease, the thrombocytes get accumulated to the skin and it appears as rashes or as patchy skin. The thrombocytopenia is a condition in which the thrombocytes are decreased in the blood. Okay, that's all for this lecture, and we will discuss further in the next session. Thank you everyone. Yeah.